Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and it's me, Baron. It's nice to meet you again. Or if you're new, then hello. So again, I'm still doing the whole memberships thing. I don't know what's going on with it, but I'm trying to set those things up. I'm making the icons, I'm making everything. And for general updates, I guess I'm going to start microdosing a little bit because I'm gonna go out for a trip later December. So I am going to just put some videos out there so I can keep myself consistent without actually hurting myself in the process when I'm away. So yeah, so for this video, I just noticed that every single art tutorial out there are pretty much the same in the sense that everything has like a similar formula. First you do this, next you do that, next you do this, and next you do that. And although I do agree that you have to learn the basics of art in order to do art, and it's like a process, you get to actually do it over time, and over time you get better and better and better, which is perfectly fine if you want to go that route. But with the amount of detail and the amount of resources out there in the YouTubes, I think I should contribute in a way, because when I was younger I would watch all of those tutorials, but I would be so confused because I was like, what is this person saying, and why do I not get this? And when I draw something, it's like really bad. So what is my goal for this video? My goal is for you guys to sit down and draw, and after that drawing, you will look at it and be like, oh, okay, there's some improvement. So I'm gonna say this tutorial like how I would want to be taught, or like how I would understand it when I'm first starting out with artwork. So let's get on with it. So first, there are some truths with the other videos stating that the basics are really important, and I'm going to represent this tutorial through a ball, and this won't be really technical, so trust me, you're gonna be fine. Okay, just try to follow along, and if you need to pause, just pause. So back when I did the trying to be like Chinese artists video, they have a specific process. They go for a very messy sketch, then sketch on top of that with another messy sketch, and then do another layer of sketching, but that sketching is like line art this time, so they put a little bit more thought into the sketch. And then after that, a base color which is gray, and then another base color which is the color itself, then shadows and more shadows, and render. And I don't know if you guys got that, but I'm gonna explain it a little bit more. So let's do this in a way where I'm not gonna use any fancy words, and I'll just say it how it is. So first step is to make the really messy sketch. I want you to grab a very big round brush, not to the highest setting, but just like enough to get the initial shape there. And then on that, make a new layer and grab a thinner brush, and basically like sketching on top of the sketching, but try to make it cleaner. And then after that, create another sketch, and then this time put a little bit more thought. Now that you have the guidelines below it, try to follow it, but don't be slow. One thing that I notice other artists mess up is when they do line art, or whenever they do like the clean sketch, they go slowly and they try their best to make it look very perfect. Don't do that. It's just gonna make it look weird. So I want you guys to just go free with it. Do some sketching, like don't keep it uniform, but try your best to make it look like the shape. And then after that, you should get something like this, a regular circle. So next here, you're going to add like your base color. I didn't place the gray base color first because I think most of you guys are still beginners when you're watching this video, so I'll skip over that. For the basics of it all, just put the regular base color, which skin. I'll use the color skin to represent this idea, and then add another layer on top of it and set it to multiply. And then this is where the fun begins. So I want you to grab your airbrush or anything and then just shade it with me. The trick to shading is not to make it muddy. I love it when people use the more saturated shadows for the skin, and that's what we're going to do. And to do it, it's quite literally so easy. Just try to make it darker, but instead of going to the grayish side, you push it with the more saturated side. So basically, instead of going left, you go right. And you can experiment with this. You can switch the color wheel a little bit, maybe to go for red so that it would like show some red undertones, or you can go slightly towards the yellow for more yellowish undertones, but whichever is fine. And then I'm sure you guys don't know what reflection light is. Basically, if let's say this person wore a blue shirt and the light is directly hitting our face from above, if you look at the underside, there's like a shade blue, and that's because the blue shirt is casting a shadow, or like casting this sort of blue wash underneath the shadow. I don't know if that is like the truest explanation, and I hope the Sam Does Arts people don't like crucify me for this, but whatever. Yeah, so it adds a little bit more personality to your piece. I like to do it whether or not there's a blue thing there, but it's up to you. It's whether or not you want to do it or not. But for me, I like putting this blue cast shadow underneath the shadow thing. So the last step of this is to render. So you combine all of the layers together. I personally like to group them together and duplicate it so that I have a copy of the separated layers one. But anyway, once you have the merged layers, basically clean it up. So what I like to do is usually just clean up the edges, try to make it look more rendered. If you think about it, rendered is a fancy way of saying completing in a sense. So when I say I'm rendering it, I'm completing this artwork by cleaning up the edges, blending a few stuff there, fixing the eyes, adding more details and everything. And then, you know, following a reference, which again, I highly recommend. Please guys, don't tell yourself that you're a bad artist just because you use references. I hate the people who go on TikTok and say that, oh, I don't use references, I'm so good, or oh, I'm not even an artist, I use references. Please, there's a thing called life drawing. Why does it exist if they are not artists then? Because life drawing, you're basically using the life view, like the view, the landscape, as the reference. So it's the same as this, you're just grabbing a picture, referencing it. It's not that bad. If you don't need a reference, that's good for you, but like that doesn't make you any more special. So anyway, sorry that got a little bit crazy. So let's actually execute this onto an actual drawing. I got this reference from Pinterest. I forgot the name of the artist, but please inform me down below if you guys know who this artist is, because I love their style. And yeah, let's actually get the drawing. So first, I'm applying the step that I did before, which I made a sketch with a really large brush and adding their facial features. And I know it looks pretty bad right now, but that's the point. You're basically getting the shape using the big brushes. So that's what I did. I like to use the square as the face, and I know a lot of people tell you not to, but it really just depends on how you use it. And for me personally, I think the square method is pretty cool and it works for me, and it possibly might work for you. So what it does is when you draw the square, you kind of get the regular basis of the face, the lines on your jaw. I'll do a separate video on this, but for now, this is just how to do digital art the easiest way. So I added another layer, lower down the opacity of the sketch layer, and start doing the messy line art. I'm gonna skip over the other thing where I said like the second sketching because time is relative. So yeah, I just did like the regular line art, and remember guys, make sure to make it messy. It's fine if you guys don't use the uniform, oh, I am line arting this sketch, and it ends up looking worse than the sketch. So yeah, so next I did the hair. I did the same thing as I did a while ago where I keep it messy but still clean. And I think you guys can get the gist of how I did the sketchy line art. I basically just cleaned up the sketch in a way where I, instead of putting random lines here and there, I actually put some meaning there. And for the hair, I grouped everything into this like banana shape strands and added the details under it. So then after that, it's time for coloring. You just add another layer, put it under the clean sketch, and then put your base color. I like to go with a solid color first, and then add this like skin toned flush at the ends of the hair, giving it this like transparency. It's a personal choice, but if you want to follow along, go ahead. And after putting all of the base color, I added another layer and I set it to multiply this time. And multiply, what it does is the color that you chose for the shadows will overlap the base color with the flush of the color that you chose for the shadows. So like if I chose a light blue for the shadow, since it's on multiply, it will show up as this like beautiful purple or something like that. But for this one, I just used a mix of reds, skin tones, and blues. And yeah, you just basically want to spread it around. I suggest looking at the reference and then try to copy the shadows on it. And after that, you should have something like this. So after that, it's time to render. I forgot to do the suit and the shirt thing, but hopefully that doesn't make any difference. I just keep it clean. As you can see from the eyes, I just cleaned up the sketch underneath it, add some more definition, add some eyelashes here and there. And then for the mouth, I just cleaned it up a little bit, add a little shine. And for the hair, I added some highlights and blended a few parts of it. And I just added small tiny shadows here and there on the clothes, again using multiply. And I put a few stray hairs here and there. So yeah, and this is the final piece. I hope I explained it to the best of my ability. I feel like I didn't, but if you have any questions, please leave it down there and I will do my best to respond to it. But here's the synopsis, the summary of the whole thing. First, do a big sketch with a big round brush. Second, create a new layer and make a cleaner sketch on top of the messy sketch you made. And after that, add another layer, put it under the sketch layer, and color it using base colors. Next, add another layer, but this time on multiply. You shadow the places where you want to put shadows. Look at the reference if needed, please. And after that, put it all together and start rendering it. Basically just completing it, cleaning it, and blending certain places where you want to blend. Again, look at the reference if you need it. And after that, boom, just do the background, anything you want, and you have yourself a simple portrait. I don't know if the people are actually going to watch this. I don't know if it's like a popular thing to do this type of video, but if you guys are watching this and it gets to a higher audience, I hope I did it justice. And if not, I'm probably gonna look back into this video and be like, oh, why did I do this? This looks disgusting and I probably did not explain it well, but here we are. So here's what I want you guys to do. If you guys end up following this tutorial, I want you to post it on Instagram and use the hashtag Baron react to this, please, and I will look at it. I will possibly make a video on it, you know, maybe even another tutorial where I get to improve on my explanation skills. So yeah, again, use the hashtag Baron react to this and I will, well, react to it. Oh my gosh, am I gonna turn into those like roast this artwork, or like the fixing your artwork? I don't know if that's ever going to happen, or of course if I were to roast people's artwork, I would do it like respectfully and like with as much context behind what I'm saying to these artworks. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and the video that I posted like a few days ago went pretty well and I'm happy for you guys. Leave down in the comments if you want something like this again and I would definitely deliver. And yeah, have a nice day, night, afternoon, and maybe even midnight for all of those Omegaverse beta and alpha believers out there. Baron signing off with anxiety.